This morning, nice 8 o'clock in the morning. I've done this session since 2001, and as the time has gone on, things have changed greatly. Technology-wise, free things are out there and so forth. Instead of me clicking through a PowerPoint presentation and just doing that, and stuff that you probably actually, some of this you already know, or all the stuff you can find off of Google, I'd rather just do this as a session where you kind of a Q&A type thing. I will start off with some various things, and then as you have questions for various things, comments, we'll do that. Can everybody hear me? Can you all hear me in the back? All right. I'll try to make sure I'll speak up for the whole time that I'm here. If not, I believe I have a microphone too as well. Hello. Okay, I can talk. If for some reason this kind of do that to me in the back, and now I need to grab this. And so forth. Well, let me ask this. There's a couple programs I'm going to show today, and one is Audacity, which is a free audio piece of software. And some of you guys probably have used Audacity before, right? No? Okay.
No, need to know about it.
Let's see. The other one is Notepad, and a lot of you probably have seen that before. And the other piece of software that I'd like to talk about is iTunes and how to use that. So I'll put these, this might be actually the part of it that you...
Is Notepad still free?
It is if you know how to find it. To find version 2008.
You just have to do the old version, right?
Yeah, you just have to use the old, which is fine. What I wish they would do, like I mentioned before, kind of talking before the the session here, that, sorry, there we go. That's the links there. It's when I talked to the Finale folks, 2000, like was the first year Notepad came out, and I asked them, are you guys going to have this free forever? And they basically said yes, because I didn't want to use a piece of software that they'd do for 1 year, and after that they would charge you for it. Well, a decade later they started charging $10 for it. So I guess really in the grand scope of things, it's not too much for one copy. However, if you're doing a lab, that could be $100, which I know at these times it's difficult for you guys to find at this point here. So these are the big three programs. I can talk about some other software. If you have interest in video, I can talk about some free options for video editing as well. Okay. Let me ask this question: who's more important? Who cares more about recording audio? Okay. Notation. Okay. Well, okay. Making your own CDs or doing MP3s. All right. Well, we'll start off first with Notepad, and then we'll go to Audacity at that point there. Y'all got that down? Oh, if you guys email me, I can email you this PowerPoint presentation. And as a matter of fact, I have it online already from the previous years as well. So that's easy to do. Okay. I'll put that back up at the end of the session. Well, let's start off with Notepad. And I know a lot of you guys have dealt with Finale. Some of you guys might be Sibelius users. Is there any Sibelius users out there? A couple? For me, it's not so much about the piece of software, it's what you can do with this piece of software. And I think pretty much all the music notation folks say the same thing. I started with a program called Encore, which some of you might remember. And I still use Encore a lot because that's what I used in college. I know it like the back of my hand. And I'm faster on that, even though there's some new ways of Finale that I can enter things a lot faster. But theoretically, I just use that program forever. So I can edit on that really, really quick. Well, let me open up Finale 2008. 2009 now costs $10. Before this session, what I did was this. I went on Google and I typed in Finale Notepad 2008, and I found a link to download it. So it's still up there if you want to find it. And I don't know how long Make Music will have that up there for you to download, and I'm sure you can find it. When you first open up Finale Notepad, what comes up is a wizard, and you probably are familiar from this wizard. You're probably familiar with this wizard. Okay, great. If you do like Microsoft Office and whatnot. So basically you type in a title. In this case I'm just going to type in song. And composer, let's keep it easy. Let's say me for today. And you have a you have a choice of going through and picking what type of size. We're in America, so 5 by 8 and 11 is probably what you want to have here. Hit next. And then now you can actually go through this wizard and pick what instrument you want to use. So let's say back in my day, I used to play trumpet. Any trumpet players in here? All right, awesome. And let's say just for fun, I want to add a trombone. And I can keep on doing that as much as I want. Add other instruments on here as well. I can move them around if I want to by clicking on it. Yes, ma'am. You can have as many. On Finale Notepad, you can do 8 voices for free. So up to 8 different instruments at a time. If I want to remove something, just hit remove. So today I'm just going to do a duet, trumpet, trombone duet. And you can hit score order if you're so inclined to do that. What I usually do this when I teach this in band camp is I tell the students that you probably know how to write for your instrument because you play your flute or clarinet or whatever instrument that you play. So you know the range of that as well. So that's what I usually tell them to add. Now the next part of the wizard is how many measures. This one I'm going to keep short. Let's say I'm going to do let's just do a real short one, 8 measure composition. And then of course I can pick the time. You're restricted to the most common times here. On the other versions of Finale, you can go through there and pick other things and make your own time signature. So let's say we'll just stick in 4/4, and let's stay in the land of the B flat major. And if you don't remember your majors and minors, you can do that in G minor also. I'm sure you guys all know your relative minors without a doubt. And hit finish. And here it comes. So now I have 8 measures on here. And the easiest way to input notes is just to point and click. So let's say I start off with a half note, and I want that to be on the tonic. And you notice it plays it back for you also audio-wise. So we'll make a nice C chord there. Okay. Now, another way that I can input notes is I have a little MIDI keyboard here, electronic MIDI keyboard here. And this is this inexpensive USB one that I plug in. And you can go through here, and let me make sure the MIDI is actually working. All right, input device. And now I should be able to play things on the keyboard. I can play chords on it if I want to. And so forth like that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I can pick another one. I'm on a laptop here. What you need is the number lock on. If you're using that to be able to change the duration. See how I'm changing the durations? I'm hitting the number pad. So basically, I hit 1, and it goes to, and 5, 6, and so forth. 7. So after a while, you get used to that. Yes, ma'am. If all the note values are exactly the same, yes. You're talking about playing in real time? Yeah. On Finale Notepad, that's not an option. On Finale and other versions, you have that as an option, not a Notepad.
So when you play it, you have to play it perfectly.
Yeah, print music. Yeah, print music. Print music used to be. Was it $99, $59? It used to be $59 at one point. And that's all you need. Unless you were printing some avant-garde 20th century score, you honestly don't need the full version of Finale. And most folks, if you're just doing 1 or 2 staves, you can get by with print music without a doubt. Without a doubt. Let's say it one time, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All those are Finale products. They basically, if I had the internet, if you go into to makemusic.com, they have their whole family of notation software. And the free version that they have now is a Finale reader. So you can't edit it, but that's so you can open the Finale document.
Okay, one other question. That keyboard that you have, you said it's a MIDI keyboard. You don't have a MIDI box in and out or anything like that? They don't make that?
They make them. This one happens to be a built-in USB one, and I think this was $30. It wasn't too expensive. I'm not sure they still make them anymore, but I got it a couple of years back. But
And that's just an in-out on your...
all I'm doing, I'm just
No, I mean, where's it plugged into on your...
a USB. This is the USB.
USB.
Yeah, it's just a USB on there.
Keyboard doesn't play by itself.
Nah,
It has to be-
there's no sound. There's no sound in here. Only sound's coming from the computer. And if I want to, I can do the same thing down here. And so forth.
Okay, and when you downloaded your finale notepad, it gave you the sounds that it
Yes,
needed
ma'am.
because it doesn't come built into your PC. It comes, when you download it, it comes with a basic
Yes,
package
ma'am.
of
It comes with the basic MIDI sounds
Wonderful.
on there. So that's basically that input there. The other way is a speedy note entry, which is actually there's a couple ways of actually doing that. Okay, oh, whoops, let me turn off the Notepad. And I can say enter, and then I can move up and down. These let me change the direction.
Are you using cursor or are you using the mouse?
I'm using
Add.
the numbers to go up and down,
Okay.
and I can also change the and I can add intervals on top of that as well. So let me change that to. Let me keep on going. Good. And tell you what, we'll just erase a couple of these here. Yeah, this is actually a pretty cool way of inputting notes. That is actually faster. That once I put that there, I can hit enter and then go up. So I can input that way. I'm using the arrows that go up, and once I have the note in there, this is what they call the speedy note entry, and it's actually a pretty fast way. And actually, you probably can enter notes faster that way than you can with a piano keyboard. And also, the other thing that's cool, if I hit an interval, I hit 5, it adds a fifth. And I do that again. So you're doing quartal, quintal, harmony. Let me input another note there. Let's say I'm going to do a third. So I can build triads really quick by just hitting 3, 3, 3. And so forth. So, yes, sir.
So if you're playing a 4-part piece on there, will it assign automatically some of those tones to the trombone part?
If I have to be on the trombone octave, and actually down here in the layer, I'm not sure my big head's in the way or not. Can you see this layer here? I can put 4 different layers of things. So let's say I want to put a whole note on the trumpet part, some type of it will, and then if I go to another layer here, I can put in some eighth notes or whatever I needed.
So if you have 3 trumpets.
So if you got 3 trumpets, you could go in there and do layers like that if you needed to. All right. The other things are pretty basic. If I want to do a slur, I just double click on the previous one, the previous note, put it there. If I wanted some articulations, this little whole note with a accent, and just click on that, and I have a choice. Okay, well, there's a accent there, or if I want to, I'm not sure why you would staccato a half note, but if you wanted to, you could do that. If you want to put in dynamics, fermatas, those types of things, you can do that relatively easy that
Is
way.
there a place for words?
Text,
Is that it right there with
text
A?
is with A, and you just double click and you start typing.
If
What you
you're
probably
putting
want,
text, what if I'm a choral teacher?
yeah, what you probably want is lyrics, and this is the lyric tool, and it's the quill and feathers, and you basically click on that and you start typing. I love time! Exclamation point. And you basically just start typing, and when you hit a hyphen, it's going to go to the next note. When you hit the space bar, it goes to the next note as well. When you redraw it, it should move around. If not, every tool that I'm on here, I should be able to move up and down. There, yeah. If I click on that first one, see now I can
Oh,
move,
that's cool, yeah.
I can move it up and down. So basically I'm clicking that first one there. And if you deal with Finale, a lot of the same things are in the Notepad. In some ways, I actually prefer Notepad to using Finale because there's the bells and whistles that most people don't use are cut out in Notepad. Like Finale looks like flying a space shuttle sometimes. It's like, wow. Especially, did anybody ever use version 261 back in 1991, 92? It gave you one note, one measure. That was it. It gave you one measure. You said, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Okay, well then you have to go add your own measures in there and figure out templates at one point.
So do all of those little pop-up screens come up right away when you hit a new song you're ready to create? All those little, see those little?
Yeah, when I hit notes, the wizard will go through there and walk you through it.
And then, but then when you're done, all of those, I wasn't paying attention earlier, when you're ready to put in those notes, all those little pop-up screens.
Yes, ma'am.
match your palette.
If not, you just come over to a window and just open them up. Like the rest palette's not up yet. So it's under window up here, and I just pick which one. If it doesn't have a check mark on it, you just hit it and the check mark pops open.
So if you're writing for piano and you have a sustained full note, you have no pattern, bass clef, and more complex melody in the right clef, it's not going to differentiate. You can't just play it and print it out.
No, not this version. 2009, I did download the Finale 2009, and it gives you 30 days you can use it for free. So if you wanted to try that, try the demo version of Finale 2009, a Notepad, you can do that as well. And yes, sir.
This is the one you downloaded for $10, you said?
This was one I downloaded last year for free. And I did a search for it. If you do a search for Finale Notepad 2008, I found a link to still download it for free off their site. I don't know how long it's going to stay up there. There was some talk that maybe Finale would offer students free versions of Finale Notepad, like an academic price, which would be free, which I think would be great if that's a possibility for them. Yes, ma'am.
More questions. So, hey, Chris, would you add extra measure and just do rest report, or is there a shortcut?
Let's see real quick. I can't remember if it does it. In Finale, you actually have that as an option to do the anacrusis. What I would do, oh, thank you. It's 8:20 in the morning. In Finale, there's an option that says pickup measure. On Notepad, it doesn't have it. So what I would do is this: you're smarter than the computer. Just put some rest there, and then put that in there.
Is there a way to make it 2 or 3 line staff for elementary teachers?
We'll say it one more time, Laura, ma'am.
Is there a way to make it 2 or 3 line staff for elementary teachers for reading charts?
Not in Finale Notepad. Now, in Finale, you can do that.
Okay, and then whenever I saw that you can select the page size, you can make whatever size you want, like a half sheet or whatever, or whatever it really big.
Yes,
And then
ma'am.
you say this document that you can just import to Active Studio or whatever you want to use from.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah, yes, ma'am. The great thing about Finale Notepad is that they open up in Finale. Finale ones open up in Notepad. So whatever the current version is the version that it works. And the new version of 2009, some of the specs I read on it saves it as, golly, was it the transformer, the movable, I forgot what it's called, not XML. But anyways, it's the movable document for Finale. I forgot what it's called, I'm sorry. If I had the internet, I'm so hooked with the internet. I can find it real quick for you. The other thing that's really great, and this is what I did, was, let me just put that over. What I did was, when you first download Finale Notepad, there's a document in there that basically walks you through the process of it. So let's see if I can find that real quick. And just to show you a couple of things, like for some of the elementary folks, there's I can hammer with one hammer, I can hammer with 2 hammers, and so forth like that. That's the way you can make it look, and you can print that out. And the great thing is, even with the reader itself, you could give this to your students, and they could view that at home as well, and have that.
There's no way to just save it as the song itself, unless I guess
You want to print it?
Scan
you can print it out, and if you have, on a Mac, it's built in where I can save it as a PDF file. On PC, you can download, I think it's a Qt PDF maker. That was one I used to use when I was using PC. And if you do a search for free PDF maker for PC, XP, Vista, whatever version you're using, you'll find some. Just remember, Google is your best friend. Whatever I don't know, I type into Google and somebody has figured it out. And it's a common, you know, instead of one brand, it's billions of brands on there trying to figure out things. Sure. The one thing is like this is the resolution quality of that's probably just going to be 72 dpi. When you print, you want to be 300 dpi. And a PDF file is meant to print. So it's a higher. It doesn't matter. It's the best resolution you can get 72 dpi on a screen, so it doesn't matter. That'd be fine for that. All right. Okay, let me just get that real quick. Show you that real quick. Yeah, on here, if you want to actually learn the rest of this stuff, if you go into when you download Finale, there's a Finale Notepad training exercise. If you go through this tutorial, I think it's 7-8 pages long, 10 pages long, you will know how to use Finale Notepad. And it basically, you just click on there and you just follow the instructions on it, and you'll become quite proficient in using Finale Notepad. As soon as you download it, in the folder itself, there's a thing that says Finale Notepad Exercise. I'm going to move on to another piece of program. If you have any questions on this, you can come see me. I'll leave some questions and answer. And basically, yeah, I need to move on. Is there anything this dying that you need to know about Finale Notepad, other than it's free? And the cool version about 2008 was that I could pull in MIDI files with it. So that means if you found a MIDI file off the internet, you could open it up in there. And I believe that I could save it as a MIDI file too. Let's see real quick. Yes, I can save it as a standard MIDI file, which is great because if I can save it as a MIDI file, I can open it in a sequencer. I can open it up into another. I can open up Sibelius if I needed to, as well. And that's just kind of the Esperanto of. All right. Well, let me go on to Audacity because you're going to love this one. The cool thing about Finale Notepad is cross-platform Mac and PC, and Audacity is Mac, PC, and Linux. I don't know if we have any Linux users out there. Most likely your IT person wouldn't like you to deal with Linux. Let me open up Audacity because I love this program, and I've been using this program for a long time. Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, Audacity is a free program, and when you download it, let me just show you this here because this is the most confusing part of it. By default, I can save. Let me just record something. Hello, everybody. Here at time. All right, there it is. The options that are there is WAV file, which is that standard format, which is the Red Book compliant CD. Basically, you can save as a WAV file. And Ogg Vorbis, which some of you may never heard of before, but you can save it as, if you wanted to save it as that. But sadly, the MP3 isn't there at first. What you have to do is you have to download the codec, what's called a lame codec. And what you need to do after you download it, it's on the same page. You download Audacity. You come under Preferences. On PC, it's going to be under File, I believe, but on Mac, it's under the Audacity name. Hit Find Preferences, and what you want to do is you find the library, and then you just go through there and you find the lame codec. And what the lame codec is basically, MP3 is copyrighted, and since it's an open source piece of software, it can't legally put something that's there, but someone went through and made a version of MP3 that was called lame. And it works great. I use it all the time. And you just go find it, and then you can pick the bit rate of it. Why I'm here on this, Let me talk a little bit about MP3s, just because I know it's not quite the buzzwords as it was 10 years ago. But what MP3 is a lossy compression. And what that means, it actually gets rid of things. So let's say that I'm recording something, and normally a mono is 10 megabytes a minute, 10 megs a minute, okay? When I compress it down let's say 1 to 10, really like 128 is basically 1 to 8, but let's pretend it's 10. So it's 1/10 the size. So instead of being 10 megs, it's 1 meg, all right? So where do those 9 megs go? Well, they're gone. They basically are taking out. What it does, as you probably remember this, if you're a band director, or if you've been in music at all, you realize when we hear really highs and really lows, the middle stuff we don't notice as much. And so what the MP3 does, it goes through and figures out, okay, this is really high, and this is really low. I'm not going to hear the middle, so I'm going to take the middle part out. And it does it sophisticated. It's more advanced than that, but basically that's how MP3 works. So if you want a higher fidelity, always save it as a WAV file. That's going to have the best sound for you. Now, if you're listening to your car with road noise, who cares? you're not going to hear you're not going to have that great fidelity in a car. The one thing that is kind of, I won't say it's frightening, but I teach a rock history class, I teach a jazz history class, and as soon as I'm done, they take your cell phones out, they're listening to the MP3 players, and we have a whole generation now, well, not quite a generation, but we have for the last 5-7 years, they're just listening to music on little earbuds. Back in the 70s, at SFA, one guy had enough money or whatever, and he had the baddest sound system in his dorm room, and everybody came in there and listened to records and quadraphonic sound and whatnot, and you really get some good fidelity going on. But now they actually are mixing to little headphones, and what's happening is that I think we're getting to a point that the young people don't really realize what good audio sounds like. They're used to compression. They're used to the lossy compression system. And a CD is so much better sounding than an MP3, usually. I will say this though, at 320, it's a bigger file size, it is pretty dang close to CD quality. And it's probably 1/4 the size.
And that's just using your PC little microphone that's built in and not another.
Well, there's a saying, garbage in, garbage out. The better mic I have hooked up to here, the better fidelity of sound that I have. For this purposes, I'm just using my built-in mic here, but I have a USB mic that I can use that some of you might have saw yesterday at some of these sessions, and they're not too expensive, and you do get a lot better fidelity that way. But I would say this: if size is a problem, 160, 192 is good. Okay, if you don't have to worry about size 320. If you're doing only spoken word, 64. The podcast that I do 64 for my podcast because I'm just talking on it. I don't need the highest fidelity because I'm just talking.
The USB mic she was asking.
Oh,
what brand? Can we not recommend or not really?
I can't think of one right off the bat. Just type in USB microphone into Google, and you'll find a list of them. If you send me out an email, and I can, when I have internet access, I can help you out more. Yes, yeah. When we get into the iTunes, we can talk about that. Yes, definitely. Sadly, though, I think some MP3 players, other than the iPod, can play AAC. But for a while there, only the iPod was playing AAC. And the cool thing about MP3 is that at 128, 160, I can email that to myself very easily, or email it to my students, or put it on the website, and the bandwidth-wise isn't going to charge an arm and a leg for that. So I would say for size and quality, 160 is actually really good. If you can afford a little bit more, 192 is pretty good compression. 128, I can always tell is MP3, but these ones here start getting better. At 320, the sound quality it's hard for me to tell the difference between a CD and that. Yeah, so the XLR to USB mic, yeah. Okay, so now that I talked about codecs longer than I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record. I'll kind of give you like a real life use of this here. I brought my little backpacker guitar. And I think it's out of tune because I dropped it. That's close enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play some chords in here, and I'll do a simple song. Okay, so I'll play that in there, and let's say, kind of going back to my elementary roots. I used to walk around with this all day long, and I love it. I love my little recorders. One time I had someone break into my car, and I took a jacket. They took a couple of these, and they took my recorders. Why would they take my $4 recorders? I have no idea. Let's see if I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the audio a little bit on this because normally I'd wear headphones. Normally I would wear headphones so I won't get what they call bleed through. And what bleed through basically is that I don't want to hear the guitar part on the next track. So you put your headphones on, and actually if you're like in a recording studio, a lot of times you see folks with this one headphone on and they're like pressing it against their ear. That's because those really expensive microphones are so sensitive and they're that close to it that will even pick it up. So that's why if you ever seen that before, but we're not going to worry about that right now as much. So I'm going to turn this down here. Here's the dBs here. As long as I can hear this a little bit, I'll be all right. All right. So get my recorder ready to go. I'm going to hit record again. And basically now I'm going to come through here and mix it a little bit. So let's see how it sounds, and I'll turn down a little bit to make sure. When you're dealing with audio, it's better to be too soft than too loud. Okay, let's bring the melody up a little bit.
How did you just adjust the sound?
Right here is a dB.
One has its own.
That's decibels, and basically you go up and down. So I came up 9 dB on that there, and so forth. Yeah. Let me show you a little bit of a trick that I kind of got that when I make this for CD, especially since most of the students are listening to this via the headphones, is I'm going to click on this track here, and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to duplicate it 2 times. And tell you what, I'll move that down. So I got the melody up here and I have the guitar. And what I do a little bit, this is kind of a quick way of making a nice full sound, is that I do a hard left, that's panning, and it means I hear that out of the left side of my ear, and then I do a hard right, and then I keep a dead center pan. And I pulled these down because every time I add something to it, it's going to increase the volume of it. So I'm going to bring the rest of this stuff down a little bit. And you guys probably can hear it out there. Can you hear that the guitar part's going that way? Now if I do this, let me say I'll turn everything to all hard left on the guitar part. And then I do the hard right on the... So out here should be the melody and out there should be the chords. See how that works? And remember we used to get those, what was it, the CDs for the Silver Burdette? Basically had a switch on it.
Right.
And that's what it would do, basically, is that you'd cut out the left side or right side to make sure you don't have, you'd have it without the melody or have it with the melody, depending on what, on there. And you can do this yourself if you wanted to. Yes, sir. So I can say, oh, well, I just want to hear the melody. So you can mute it out as well. This is a trick I kind of came up with, and I thought this was really, it actually works pretty well. It's going through there and mixing it that way. And I would do that with the melody as well. Okay, and let's say, okay, let me put that dead center. That's not too bad. Recorder playing, that's all right.
That's just picked up by microphone built into the computer? You
That's-
don't need any special?
That's just the built-in microphone. I have recorded demos, and if you've seen one of my 600 videos on YouTube, I've made a lot of movies off this thing itself.
So will it pick up like voices pretty good too?
Mhm.
Or-
Voice
so
is
like you
fine.
could have the kids sing something and you could put it on the end.
Yeah, basically, if it's a choir, even this area here, I just face the microphone toward y'all. Now, of course, a better microphone is going to get better fidelity
I
at
just
it.
thought it would be always nice to do the school song and put it on the announcements, and I don't have any equipment. So.
If you have a Macintosh or you have, if you have a PC, I mean, I think a microphone you can find for $5, probably $10. If you want to go really cheap, you can just plug a headphone in there, and it's a horrible microphone, but it will work. If you ever went to McDonald's and it's basically the same microphone and speaker, the same membrane vibrating. Yes, sir.
Can you, say your timing was just a little bit off, can you fix it?
Oh yeah. This function right here. I say, okay, let me just move that over just a touch. So I can move that over just a touch, like that. And also, this is actually really good here. Is like I got like a second there. I can highlight that there. Okay, I'm gonna put. All right. So I'm highlighting all that there. What I do is I clicked on the bottom, and I gone up like that there, and then I hit delete, and now that second's gone. If I want to do let's say I want to fade out at the end, I highlight everything I want. Come under effect and say fade out. So that's cool. All right.
How many tracks do you use?
I have never outused it. I have never outused it. I've had 45 tracks on it. I've done a lot of musical and creep with it. It's avant-garde electronic music, and.
I do a lot of this in SoundForge.
Is there? I don't even know if there's a limit on SoundForge. Yeah. Well,
You import stuff from iTunes, like if you wanted to, say, in a classroom, you wanted to do a dance song, you wanted to repeat 15 times, but you didn't want it.
yeah. I was just about to show that. Okay. So okay. This for grins. I'm going to export this as an MP3. Let me do that again. So file, export to MP3. I could do it in a WAV file if I wanted to, and let me just save it to my. I'll save it to my documents. And in here, I can go and put in the title, the artist, the other name. I won't do that right now. Figure what it is, and then just go from that point there. And it encodes really quickly, especially these newer computers, the dual core ones. Golly, they compress great. The cool thing about Audacity, this thing will work with a Pentium 2. So whatever computer you have, it will be fine. Yes, ma'am. Oh, it depends on which PC you have. Yeah, if you see a little dot on it, it probably has a microphone. And of course, if you buy it, you can say, "Does this have a built-in microphone?" And no, don't tell you. Yeah, but if you get a computer over $800, it's probably going to have it. You have a computer under that, it may not. But even those little subcompact ones, those little, yeah, that has webcam and a, yeah. If I had that when I was a kid, woo, watch out. I can make videos under that thing and do audio.
Okay, so you can save this as an MP3, as a CD,
There's a WAV file. Yes, ma'am.
WAV file.
Okay, I'll do that real quick, just for grants. And we can see the size difference on here. So, let's see. All right, that's 2.5 megs is a WAV file, and the MP3 is over 300 kilobits. So it's a lot. So that's like almost no space at all. All right, well, let me do this for fun. Let me see what I got. All right, here's my big hit. Tell you what, I'm gonna do Sweater Girl because I like that one better. Let's pretend this is off the, and I forgot to bring a CD today. Dagnabbit. No, actually I got one. I can do that real quick. But I'm running out of time also. Let's just pretend, does everybody know how to rip something from a CD?
No.
How to rip a song from a CD?
No.
Okay, let me go over that real quick. All right. So I got. Here's my audio CD because I want to stay within copyright. Is First off, you put the CD in the computer. I'm not. And iTunes works on Mac and PC. All right. And what you have to do is you have to get this audio CD into a format that you can actually do something with. And I use iTunes is great because Apple pays for the rights for MP3 compression and whatnot because they want you to go buy songs on there. So they've had it that way for a while. All right, so I got my audio CD in there. Good. So it says, do I want to import the CD? I'm going to say no. I'm just going to pick which track I want. Say I'm going to take that track there. If I want to, I can do the whole CD. And I can basically go, say, create MP3 version. I want to show you this, though. Default, it's under Preferences, Advanced. I got to keep moving around, man. It's General. Where the heck is it? Okay, here it is. Import settings. The default that Apple has set up for you is AAC. Sadly, AAC is a great compression. It's great compression, but a lot of MP3 players, a lot of stuff on Windows won't necessarily play it back. So what you need to do is when you first download iTunes, go in there, you go find that, let me show you that again. Find the preferences somewhere. I believe on the PC it's under File, but on Mac it's under the iTunes. Find Preferences. And find something that says here, import settings. It may be under general, it may be under advanced. I've seen it, depending on what version of iTunes you have, it may be one of these places. Find the import settings somewhere and pick either MP3, or if you want, you can do WAV, where this rips it off as the highest quality. But in this case here, I'm just going to say MP3. And you notice I got 192 there, which is a decent bit rate. So I'm going to do that, hit OK. I'm going to select the track that I want, go under Advanced, and say Create MP3 version of it. So now it's ripping that from the CD. So it's ripping one of my big hits, which y'all can find on YouTube. Yes, ma'am.
If we have a Dell and we go to rip it, can we rip it still as MP3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can rip it as long as you tell iTunes
From
what.
iTunes.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Okay.
Now there are other software, but this software is free. That's why I'm showing you this. Under Edit. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, it's somewhere different. I just got to a point where I start clicking until I find what I need. Because like on PC, sometimes on Explorer, I can't. Depending on what version, it's at different places. All right. So now it ripped it. I go to my, and here's my track here. All right, so there's a song that I did, and the easiest thing that I do is this: I just drag it to the desktop. I just take this track here. It's actually in a folder somewhere, but I just drag it to the desktop. Then I know where it's at.
Like we can use it for that day.
Yeah.
So when it's first ripped, where does it put it?
It puts it in on a Mac on the music iTunes area. On a PC, I'm sure somewhere it's iTunes. It's somewhere under Documents. Yes. That's true. So now what I'm going to do is this. Let's say, because here's an example. Let's say that I want to use this as my dance thing or whatever, and I got like 3 minutes. Let me do this really quick. I'm going to bring it into Audacity. So here's something that I ripped from a CD. Here's me rocking out. Okay. So let's say I want the first 15 seconds of that only. Highlight all that. Bam, it's gone. Highlight that. Bam. Fade out. Anyways, there it is. And if you want to do that 15 times, highlight it, paste it, and you do it as many times as you want. Yes, sir. Just like a word processor. Oh, yes, ma'am. If you wanted, this area here is plus, so I'm going there by, yeah. This Audacity is incredible. It's a great program. I am so happy the open source community has made it out there. I love it. I can't wait for them to make something similar for GarageBand, for open source. I can't wait for them to finally come up with an open source notation program as well. And God, like, what was that website I found? Does anyone remember, what was that online one they talked about yesterday? the online notation software link? Noteflight, yeah, I think it's noteflight.com. I tried it a couple of days ago. It looks very promising. So Noteflight. If you guys remember in 2000, there was something called Notation Station, which went out of business. They did something similar, but that's it. Well, I know happily the next session is coming up, so I need to beam on out of here. If you have any questions, find me here at the session, email me, and I'm going to throw this on YouTube. Thank you all for coming out. You guys are great. Rock and roll, everybody.